I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody, and we are back. It is the Station 19 After Show. I am your host, Tsahai Wilson, and we have so much to talk about tonight. The episode is called I Know This Bar, and it is going down in this bar. Unfortunately, our lovely Linda Antwi is not here with us tonight, but she will be back with us next week. So first, let's talk about what we have going on tonight. We have some news and gossip and an interview from one of the cast members. We have our fire facts and all the goodies. But so let's get started. You know, I'm alone tonight, but I know you guys are here with me because this episode was a doozy. So, you know, we did this crossover event with Grey's and Station 19, and actually it started with Station 19. I initially thought it was going to start with Grey's. So I was surprised. I was like, okay, it's starting with Station 19. Interesting. But then we had this incident with the bar, which is a continuation from last season. We didn't know what was going to happen, and now we're inside the bar with everyone. This woman basically crashed her car while she was driving her husband to the hospital. Her name was Joan, and then the husband's name was Don. First of all, okay, Joan. She was so frazzled, and I get it. You know, your husband had a heart attack in the car with you. You're nervous. You don't know what to do. But like, what would you guys do in that situation? Do you think you would freak out, or would you be calm under pressure? In my mind, I think I'd be calm under pressure, but that's just, you know, how I've never been in a situation like that before. So here's Joan in the car, crashed through the bar, Don sitting next to her, basically out of it, and she thinks he's dead until she finds out from Ben Warren that he has basically had a third heart attack because Don has had 2 previous heart attacks. Like, Don, what are you eating? Like, lay off the hot dogs or something. And Joan, what are you feeding him? Like, come on now. Like, I understand it could be hereditary, but that's a lot, isn't it? So, you know, they're in this bar, and a lot of the Grey's doctors and residents end up getting injured or being involved. The young people that are injured are Blake Sims, who's the new guy, because they kept on saying his name. I was like, who? And he hadn't established himself. But if you guys remember from last season, he was the one that was kind of mean to everybody. And then we have Taryn Helm. She's injured. She's the one in love with Meredith. And then Brody, who's another new character, who is actually, fun fact, Debbie Allen's daughter, Felicia Rashad's niece. And her name is Vivian Nixon. So I'm glad to see her. You know, Debbie Allen directs a lot of the episodes of Grey's and Station 19. Definitely Grey's. I'm not sure about Station 19, but she is in the Shondaland family. And I always love seeing her. And then, you know, she acts on the show too, wearing all the hats, Debbie Allen. This is why I love her. So Schmidt is freaking out about after this car crash. You know, he is always panicky. And if you guys watched Grey's, I didn't get to finish Grey's, so no spoilers. I have to watch the last part. But, you know, Schmidt ends up, you know, having broken heart syndrome. And we see the beginnings of it in this episode. Parker, who is the veteran, thinks that there was a bomb attacked, and he is in shock. And we find out other things about these characters, like Taryn is allergic to morphine, and she's continuously freaking out. Jackson ends up giving her some whiskey to help her out prior to getting to the hospital, which I thought was cute. And we see a lot of the Station 19 characters coming back. You know, we see Miranda recovering from this miscarriage. We see Herrera and Sullivan and the progress of this relationship, Maya and Jack and their progression, and Vic and Jackson. So all these affairs are going on. And I think love was a big theme in this episode. And seeing Miranda like dealing with the loss of this baby was difficult to watch, because it's like she was saying later on that the love that she wanted to give her child, you know, no matter how much, she wasn't able to kind of fix the situation, which was super sad. But going down to what happened in the bar, you know, Taryn, like I said, is allergic to morphine. So Sun, who is Schmidt's boyfriend, he tries to do a like taekwondo kick to open up a back door. That was very interesting. He basically almost injured himself thinking he was going to handle it. Herrera is also in, Andy's father is in this bar. She doesn't even realize that he's there because, again, if you remember from last season, his cancer has come back and he was at the hospital and Ben was trying to figure out what was going on with him. We also have Trey, the cutie bartender who was helping out a lot during this episode, which was nice. And I hope we get to see more of him. Overall, I'm jumping around a little bit. I apologize, guys, because I've never done a show by myself. Sorry. So I'm like, who do I talk to? I'm talking to you guys. Stick with me. We're also in the live chat. So if you have any comments, I will be checking that out. Anybody in there yet? Not yet, but hit me up in the live chat. So I was saying that we have this new character, Trey, the cutie bartender, that I hope he is going to play an integral role. Maybe he's going to be a love interest of someone. I don't know. We'll see. Gibson and Hughes arrive on set from the Station 19 crew arrive on set and they're there to assess the whole situation. But there's a cement truck blocking the fire exit. I felt like that was a metaphor for like a road, like the blocks that everyone has encountered in their lives. Like it's an exit where you're supposed to use to escape from, but then here it is, this, not just a truck, but a cement truck. So a truck is already heavy and then a cement truck is heavier. So it's like, okay, and I love the fact that everyone tried to push the truck away, but they needed more people to come on board to help them move the truck. Do you see what they're doing there? Like you need the help from your friends when things get difficult. And I think that's just kind of setting the tone for this season and this episode. I think overall, I really like this episode, especially the way it ended. We will get to that. And that surprised me. I was just when I think it's getting boring and I'm like, okay, I know what happened. There's a incident in the bar. People get injured. People get, repaired and taken to the hospital. Oh no, Station 19 had a little zinger at the end. So continuing in the bar, Joan was a loving wife, but she did annoy me a little bit. I was like, girl, calm down. But, finally Don wakes up because he gets shocked and they were able to pass some tools through the windows. Everyone was working together. And we saw a majority of the Station 19 crew in this, what is called a crossover event. But the only Grey's person I remember seeing is Miranda. So I was like, okay, I thought there was going to be more interaction between the shows, but I appreciate the fact that they did keep it very separate so we didn't get too confused. And I could just talk to you about this right here on this after show. So, they were able to pass some tools to Joan in the car. She ends up giving her husband a shock and he wakes up and she expresses to him like, I want to live the rest of this life with you. Don't die on me. We have our dog. Our dog's going to crap all over the place because he or she, I wasn't sure of the sex of the dog, will miss you so much. So I was like, oh, Joan, that's so sweet. And poor Don, he was like here trying to survive and she's still like, getting mad at him. And I wondered if they played it that way because they're like a long-standing, happy, older couple. Like, I'm not in a relationship, as many of you may know. And so is that how it is? Like, the way you show your love for your spouse, instead of being like coddling and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're alive. You're just like, don't die on me. And you end up being, I guess it's like tough love. But I'm like, Joan, this was not the time for the tough love. The man has had his third heart attack. Come on. So anyway, Joan, after her husband is secured and they take him out of the vehicle, they end up attempting to take her out of the vehicle, and Joan, has a pair of scissors in her bag. Not mad at Joan because as a resourceful person myself, I keep plenty of things in my bag. Like at this moment, I have some old lady mints and gum. I've got several pens, got my laptop, all of these things. But Joan had scissors, which ended up being a fatal move for her. And you could see it coming as she was attempting to clip that seatbelt on her own. The car shifts. Joan stabs herself. Why, Joan? It was sad. I did not want Joan to die. I was annoyed by her being frantic, but I did not want Joan to die. And that's what, ends up happening while her husband has been taken to the hospital and getting heart surgery. Joan has passed away. And it was really sad because it's like you see, here it is. She was saying she didn't want him to die. And now he died, without her even, she dies without him even knowing, which was really sad. And also, Station 19 has been away for a little bit, so it's good to have them back. I have to familiarize myself with all the characters again. Travis was the one who felt so bad about Joan passing to the point where he and Vic Vic is in a very good place. We'll get back to her, but Travis goes to their house and ends up spending a little time with their dog. Also, the key under the mat. People, are we still doing that? Isn't it like still safe to keep a key under a mat? I personally wouldn't do it. You got to try something else, but it was a cute. I think it's what happens in TV land. Like there's always a key under the mat, which was very sweet. But to see Travis dealing with this, I was like, oh no, Travis, like I don't want you to go through any other heartache. You lost the boyfriend and you lost the husband. So I wonder how this is going to affect Travis because he was really blaming himself. He's like, every time I think something's going to go well, it doesn't. So we'll see what happens this season for Travis. Next, let's talk about Herrera and Sullivan. The progression of this romance is very interesting to me because here it is. We've got Vic talking about she was in love. Excuse me? I mean, when we last left this was lust, maybe some glances, some, hand holding, but the full on LOVE, that was a surprise to me. Did that surprise you guys? Like, let me know in the comments because I was like, when did this progress? Maybe in the off season or something. So here it is. Their romance is so heightened to this point that people are noticing it. But hello, they have not even had a sexy time. And she has to tell her father that because everyone can see it but them. And then did you see the part when Herrera left the party and Sullivan went and followed her, and the way he was like, hovering over her and she was leaning into him. I said, oh, well, excuse me, for two people that have not had sex, you guys are steaming up the room here. But we'll see what happens with them because basically, so Jackson is at the station because they've decided to give Miranda and Ben a party for the baby. We saw a flashback of how in happier times when everyone was so excited about the baby before the miscarriage occurred, and the crew at the station threw them like a little party / baby shower, and it gave Miranda an opportunity to see why Ben liked the station so much. And when she arrived, she sees our handsome Jackson there, and she's like, "Oh, what is he doing here?" And she's then informed that he's dating Vic, who Miranda was like, "Didn't she have a dead fiance?" But sometimes you just got to move on. And like Vic said, you just got to push through the hurt and the pain. And we'll talk about that because that's how she was able to move on to Jackson, which I really appreciated them at least clarifying that. Because some people may say that she moved on too quickly, but I don't blame Vic. I blame Jackson because he and Maggie are like not even fully over. And here it is. He has a whole other relationship. So let's not focus on what Vic is doing because she's mourning the loss of a deceased person. Jackson, on the other hand, is over here just meeting new people. Maggie's over here quitting her job. And Jackson, he's just moved on like it never happened. So I have told other people that I'm very upset at Jackson. And we wish the best for Maggie. Maybe prediction, Maggie and the bartender guy. I know. What's his name? What do I call him? Trey, cutie bartender. Maybe Maggie will have a little romance with Trey, the cutie bartender. Predictions, guys. If it happens, I love when you know that I'm right. So just let me know. But I just need happiness for Maggie because she's been through so much in her life and with Jackson. He's put her through a lot. So anywho, back to this Herrera and Sullivan situation. So Jackson, even Jackson noticed. He was like, "Hey, are those two together?" And Vic is like, "No." But I was like, So I guess they're together emotionally, but not physically, which would be better. I mean, I feel like that's even more stressful, right? So anywho, Vic and Herrera are in the fire truck together. And first of all, has anyone been in a real fire truck? Like every time I watch this show, I want to go into a fire truck. If there's anyone who can help set that up for Linda and I, we would love that. And maybe we do a little off-site situation where we'll record it for you guys to watch. But it just looks like so much fun. Yes, I know there are serious situations associated with fire trucks, but it might be fun. Oh my gosh. And then I would love if we could like slide down the pole. Anywho, back to Herrera and Sullivan. Vic notices how Herrera is, and she's like, you seem brokenhearted. And I was like, what? Where is this coming from? Heartbreak again. I just thought it was just like a fledgling romance, not a whole love situation. And we find out that the reason that Sullivan has basically, he's has these feelings, they're both aware of it, but he was kind of stringing Vic along and not telling her, which is the worst. It was like killing her to know, like she wasn't sure if he felt the same way because he didn't communicate that to her. Obviously, we know Sullivan has communication issues. We've seen that last season. Now we're seeing it again. But it looks like she feels like he's playing with her until he admits, yes, I agree. Yes, I do love you. And I was like, what in the world? So we're starting out this season with these two people in love, and we didn't even see the romance like build. Did they even go, like, I guess they went to a party together, but has he asked her out on an official date? Like, what is going on? And I know they're mourning the loss of Ripley. I get it. And that brought them closer together. But that's different than like dating. Mourning and dating, two different things, not the same. Going to a funeral together and going on a date together, not the same. Okay? So Vic can see that Herrera is like heartbroken. And we find out that Sullivan basically is holding back his feelings, as many guys do, because he is worried about their jobs. And what do you guys think about that? Do you think he should be worried about their jobs, or should he just like go with his emotions and fall into love and let everyone know what's going on between them? But even Andy said that she was like, well, you could possibly, go to another station and be a captain elsewhere. And I thought about that and I was like, okay, well, if she's the one pushing the romance and he's the one concerned about their job, why should he have to leave? Is it because there's more flexibility for him to find another captain job as opposed for her? But he's like, listen, I'm trying to become the battalion chief, and he wants her to become captain. And so I appreciate that about Sullivan. He's looking out for their careers. Listen, when two people are broke, that is not a fun relationship, okay? So both of them need to have jobs. Both of them need to be employed, because once the money is secured, then you can freely like date and do things with the person. No, it's not all about money, but it does take some stress. And obviously they're already in stressful jobs, but being unemployed is more stressful. Facts. So she's really upset with him about putting this kind of hard block on this romance. But then what I found interesting was how Andy's dad reacted to observing this affair. And he kind of do we think he slut shamed her? Low key he did, but I wasn't going to be too upset with him because I know he's a concerned dad. And yes, Andy has a pattern of dating the men she works with. I get it. She's busy. The apps are hard. And, these guys are in close proximity. They understand her job. They understand her line of work. So they get her. They understand the stress of it all. You already see Jackson saying to Ben that, he doesn't understand how Vic and he can do that type of work because Jackson couldn't do it. Also because Jackson is rich and he's a little spoiled. Just saying. But Andy's dad, Herrera, is like, listen, I'm your father. You are my child. And this is too much. And we are not having it again. Now, do you guys think that he felt this way because he doesn't want his daughter to get a bad reputation? As we saw, she kept on repeating, I did not sleep with him. I did not sleep with him. I did not sleep with him. So Sullivan was kind of right because she was here saying to her own friend Maya, like, listen, I did not sleep with him. But I do wonder if Andy's going to get some perks simply from this romance that's brewing between she and Sullivan. Now, at the end of the episode, Sullivan said something, he basically put her on a week leave. Now, I was wondering if he did that because he wanted to have a week vacation with her, like oh, you go on leave and so suddenly they're in Mexico together. I wasn't sure if that was gonna happen, but he seemed kind of serious about this, what he called insubordination. And I was like, is this a game? Like, is he playing more games? You know what, now I think about it, Sullivan is playing a lot of games. I understand you're a widow and you had the wife, but you obviously don't know how to date anyone right now. And maybe you are doing Andy a favor by putting the brakes on this. Also, do we think that's why he doesn't want to move forward because he made some kind of like pact to himself that he would never love another woman to his deceased wife? That's something else that I thought about. But so he tells her to take a week off to get her head together. And she says, she's really upset about this, but what else can she do? So we will see if we start the next episode with Sullivan and Andy drinking some Mai Tais in Hawaii or Mexico or something. Again, another prediction that I'm making for myself. Next couple, we have Maya and Jack. Totally forgot about them. But they're doing better than Andy and Sullivan, which, remember Andy and Jack had a thing, and it was a whole, and Maya and Andy are supposed to be best friends. Do we still think they're best friends? Because there's a lot of tension still, to the point where it doesn't seem like they're talking much. There still seems to be some distance. And Maya and Jack are hot and heavy. Okay, did you see the scenes where he's lifting her up and they're getting it on? I'm like, guys, hello, you're at work. But I'm kind of happy for Jack because he was going through that like sleep issue and he was having a lot of problems. Maya, I still think she broke girl code with this whole romance. Everyone deserves to be happy, but I'm still a little salty about it. But then she says that, at the end that she wants to break up with Jack. And I was like, what? Now, why do we think this is going to happen, guys? Do we think it's because she, too, is going to be going for the captain position? But I thought she had already gotten a promotion. I forgot. Refresh my memory, guys. Sorry. I apologize. Linda's not here to help me out. But I felt like Maya got a promotion and Andy didn't, and there was beef because of that. But when Jack said to her, "Oh, are you breaking up with me so you can get the promotion?" I was like, wait a minute, what is she going to be promoted again? It kind of confused me. Just help me jog my memory, guys. But were you low-key happy that they broke up? I mean, there was a part of me happy that they broke up. Again, I want Jack to be happy, but I kind of want Maya not to be happy because she broke girl code and she shouldn't have dealt with her friend's ex. Just saying, I just think it's foul. Like, there are tons of other guys. Again, I understand it's easier to date someone that you work with, but still, like, your friend, like, was in love with him. Weren't they, like, engaged or something at one point? Like, no, Maya. So that's that romance. Let's talk about Vic and Jackson because, again, they are hot and heavy. Fortunately, we did not see them making out at work, but they're actually in the get-to-know-you stage, and the feelings are growing when Vic hears that Jackson is inside the bar. Okay, first of all, that scene where she did not believe him, speed it up, girl. Like, hello, he's calling you. He says he's in the bar. Trust him. People don't joke like that. Aren't you guys doctors and firefighters? Like, you don't joke about issues like that. So that bothered me. I was like, girl, come on. He is telling you he is in the bar and needs some help. Can you catch what he's picking? Catch what he's throwing up. Pick up what he's throwing. That's what I meant to say. But they seem to really like each other. I don't know. Is this like a rebound situation with these two, or is there really love there? And is Vic Jackson's rebound, but Vic is really falling in love with Jackson? I don't know. It kind of threw me off a little bit, but I was like, okay, what's happening here? They really like each other. She was really concerned, and I did not want another one of Vic's men to die. Too soon, guys. Too soon. Thank God Jackson didn't die. He owns the hospital. We can't have him die yet. So that was good. And like I said, Vic was the one that diagnosed Andy as being heartbroken. So she in her happiness can now spot other people's pain. And I really liked how she expressed, Andy was like, how did you get through it? And I didn't know I was like, Andy, what do you need to get through? Apparently this heartbrokenness that Sullivan, bestowed upon her, which I didn't know about. But, Vic says you just got to push through it. And I really like that. One thing I do like about Vic is that she is so strong-willed. Like she's not a shrinking violet. She's not like a delicate flower. Like she's hardcore. And to get through something so devastating as the loss of the love of her life, she really pushed through. And that's what she was telling Andy she needed to do too. I foresee Jackson, like Miranda, having a problem with the fact that Vic's job is so dangerous. I think it's something that he's going to be struggling with. He's never dated a woman like her before, like all the other women he's dated, worked in the hospital with him. So he was familiar with that territory. This is a world he's not familiar with. And you saw the way when he went to look for his daddy, he's not good with like surprise situations. I think Jackson likes things that he can control in a sense. So that was that. So that was kind of the recap of of tonight's episode. What did you guys think? Please let me know in the comments. And now we'll get into our special segment, news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So this past Sunday, I had the pleasure of hosting some red carpet interviews at the SAG Awards, the 26th annual SAG Screen Actors Guild Awards. And I got to talk to one of our favorite characters from Station 19, Mr. Ben Warren. So I have a clip here of Ben, aka Jason, answering some questions about this season and about what he would do for Miranda on Valentine's Day. Let's take a look.
I do a Station 19 after show.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
So please.
Get ready.
What's going to happen next? Tell me what's
I
happening.
can't tell you what's going to happen next, but I will tell you is that it's a 2-hour crossover event. You probably know this.
I do.
So Station 19 comes on at 8. As you saw, the Grey's Anatomy finale leaves off with a car smashing through the wall of Joe's bar while Ben's in there trying to, drink away his sorrows with, Ben and Bailey suffer a miscarriage. A bunch of the interns are in there. Jackson Avery's in there. And then a car smashes through the wall because, it's Grey's Anatomy. These things happen. And so Station 19 picks up right in that instant. We pick up right in that moment, leap into action, trying to save lives, and got to use all the skills we have as doctors and as firefighters to try and keep people alive, get us out of this mess and the situation we're in. Station 19 is trying to get us out of the mess that we're in. And then it goes directly into Grey's Anatomy, where you got to see whoever we manage to get out of there, if lives can get saved or not. So it's a seamless 2-hour event. We're really excited about it. It's kind of dope.
Sounds like I should get ready to cry.
Oh, it's game on. It's game on. I'm just saying the first few episodes. In fact, I take it back because we're like shooting around episode 13. Yeah, you're going to have the feels. The feels are going to be real. It's going to be, there have been tears at table reads of Station 19 and Grey's Anatomy. So I'm just saying that it's a good season. It's a good season.
Now, you and Miranda are relationship goals, your character in the show.
Thank you.
What would Ben be giving Miranda for Valentine's Day this year?
What would Ben be getting her for Valentine's Day? That's a good question, because, look, I agree with you that they're goals. I count myself blessed that I get to play one half of a intelligent, educated, upwardly mobile. What am I saying? That you remember when she got made that her little device that made a truckload of cash. So well off, economically well off, black couple. That to me has been a blessing. But Ben, he's missing a lot. So I think Ben is gone a lot now because he's a firefighter. So I'm thinking, and I'm just taking this off the cuff, that Ben's going to block out a solid 48 hours and take her away to a staycation someplace, and then do things to her, and make her remember that this is home.
That sounds amazing. Miranda needs all of that.
Yeah.
Last question.
And we can wrap that up. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So guys, when he said that for Valentine's Day he's gonna do things to Miranda, it threw me off guard, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. But I really appreciated what he said, because he admitted the fact that he's been gone a lot. He understands that Miranda needs some TLC, and the fact that he's going to take her away in this, fictitious vacation that I had them take. I thought that was really sweet. Jason Winston George was amazing to talk to. I did also remind him of his back in the day when he was on Eve, the rapper show Eve. So he was great, and I really appreciated his time. Now let's get into some fire facts. Thank you, Josh. I like that. Josh is our producer. He's holding it down with me tonight. So thank you, Josh. We recently had those fires in Australia, and there's a CNN article that gave me some more details about it because, with so much going on in the world, I was like, okay, what's really going on? Here we go again. We have our own fires here in California that we often reference, but this is what happened in Australia. So I wanted to know, what exactly caused the fires? And so if you guys don't know this, they said, heat, drought, and climate change. Each year there's a fire season during the Australian summer with hot, dry weather, making it easy for blazes to start and spread. So natural causes are to blame most of the time, like lightning strikes and drought affected forest. But dry lightning was responsible for starting a number of fires in Victoria's East Gippsland region in late December, which then traveled more than 12.4 miles in just 5 hours, according to the state agency Victoria Emergency. They say humans can also be to blame. They're saying that 24 people have been charged with deliberately starting the bushfires, and they've taken legal action against 183 people for fire-related offenses since November, according to a police statement. So, it's a little bit of nature and a little bit of our own folks causing the fires. And if you wanted to know exactly, we know the fires were in Australia, but exactly where is a question that I had. There have been fires in every Australian state, but New Wales was hit the hardest. Blazes tore through bushland, wooded areas, and national parks like the Blue Mountains. Some of Australia's largest cities were also affected, including Melbourne and Sydney. Hope I pronounced that right. I've always wanted to go to Australia, by the way. And where fires have damaged homes in the outer suburbs, and thick plumes of smoke have blanketed the urban center. Earlier in December, the smoke was so bad that in Sydney that the air quality measured 11 times the hazardous level. So that was and is crazy. And the last question was, are the fires still burning? We're not hearing about it on the news every day, but are people still being affected? And I learned that the fires are now largely contained, but dozens of others are still burning in the southeastern states of New South Wales and Victoria, and some are out of control despite heavy rain in some areas in recent days. So they say, unfortunately, Australia is only about halfway through its summer season. Normally temperatures peak in January and February. So it ain't over, guys, meaning the country could be months away from finding relief. The fires are unlikely to end entirely since they are an annually occurring event, and may even get worse if recent years are a guide. So guys, we have to do our best to work on climate change because, the world is being affected in so many ways, and it may not be affecting you right now, but it could be you. So prayers and love to Australia still. Guys, that ends our after show. I am your host, Tsahai Wilson. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Say Hi Tsahai. That's SayHitSahai. Our girl Linda Antwi will be back hosting next week. So, but hit us in the comments. Let me know what you thought of tonight's premiere episode and give me some predictions. What do you think? Do you think, that cutie bartender guy is going to end up being with Maggie? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for being here with me tonight on the Station 19 After Show, and we will see you next Thursday at 8 o'clock. Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.